Hello everybody, welcome back to Neuroscience. Quick topic today, it's going to be about the reticular formation. So the reticular formation is going to be responsible for arousal, attention, awareness, and sleep. And they have the long ascending tracts that project to the thalamus, the hypothalamus, and the cortex, which is going to be the reticular association system. And there's a long descending branch that goes down to the spinal cord, and that's called the reticulospinal tract. So the medial column is going to be made out of the raphe nuclei. The medial column is going to be made out of the magnocellular nuclei, and the lateral column is going to be made out of parvocellular nuclei. So how do we differentiate this? Parvocellular is going to be denser and darker when you see them. And the medial column is made out of larger cells, so it's a little bit less dense. It's going to be lighter in color. The afferents are going to come from the sensory system and the limbic system, along with the central nervous system, the brainstem, and the tectoreticular tracts. These are going to be influenced by your hormones, like serotonin, etc. We'll go through that in a little bit. Chemicals like carbon dioxide, barbiturates, anesthetics, and tranquilizers. So all of these because they can cross the blood-brain barrier. So the suprachiasmatic nucleus is going to receive the direct photic input, so it's going to receive light information and indirectly project to the pineal gland. So pineal gland is going to make the melatonin so you can sleep. The lateral reticular formation is going to receive the somatosensory input. So the efferents go to all the parts of the central nervous system. In particular, it's going to go to the centers of the brainstem, the spinal cord, the cranial nerves, nuclei, the red nucleus, the substantia nigra, and the tectum. One of the centers, the nucleus solitarius, is going to modulate the heartbeat, and all of these tracts will go indirectly to the cerebral cortex through the diencephalic nuclei. The lateral reticular formation is going to be responsible for the alertness. And the ascending portion of the reticular associated system is going to be responsible for wakefulness. The sensory axons are going to project to the cerebral cortex directly and through the thalamus. So as you can see here, kind of in a fan-shaped structure. It's inhibited by the sleep centers in the hypothalamus and by alcohol usage, along with sleep-inducing drugs and tranquilizers. Why alcohol? Because it's a depressant, so it's going to activate more of the inhibitory neurons, and it's going to depress the function of the excitatory neurons, so the wakefulness and alertness will go down. So in severe damage, like in a twisting brainstem, it's going to result in an irreversible coma, and this is due to like some horrifically traumatic event. This doesn't happen in like minor accidents at all. Some of the motor fibers will go to the reticular spinal tract to control coarse limb movements, but in general, it's more responsible for wakefulness. Okay, so EEGs are readings of the brain's electrical activity, and ones we need to know are the alpha wave. So this is present during light sleep, along with the periods of awake and relaxation, and it's predominantly in the parietal occipital regions. Beta waves are made when we're mentally busy or tense. So this is usually when you are testing. This is found more in the frontal regions, of course, because this is when you're trying to coordinate information, you're trying to process information, you're trying to use higher cortical functions. So all of that's in your frontal region. Theta waves are found more in awake children or in adults in like light sleep, and it's also prominent during times of emotional stress, both good and bad. So when somebody is getting married or when a loved one has passed away. This is predominant in the parietal and the temporal region. Delta waves are found only in deep sleep and in infants. So infants, like, they have delta waves in almost like all of their sleep stages. So it's not like adult sleep stages. So EEG is pretty useful to distinguish the different types of epileptic seizures. So here is a normal EEG. So this is a person who's awake. These are alpha waves. And this is going to be the alpha waves of somebody with benign Rolandic epilepsy. And you can see here, like, the waves are very jagged, and though it's somewhat regular, it's not as uniform and regular as the normal EEG. So we also use the EEG to differentiate the prognosis of coma patients. So if somebody who has, beta waves or alpha waves, maybe they can come back out, but if there's like no brain activity, it's a pretty bad sign. We also use the EEG to differentiate the organic encephalopathy or delirium from primary psychiatric syndromes. So this can be due to like a stroke, this can be due to trauma, and the psychiatric syndromes, there's less physical evidence. So this is more like emotional stress, like emotional abuse, trauma from the past, PTSD. So this is harder to differentiate. Okay, so the wake-producing neurotransmitters are going to be your glutamate, acetylcholine, dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, histamine, and orexin or hypocretin. And these are like all of your excitatory neurotransmitter. So the like non-rapid eye movement is going to be predominantly GABA, galanin, adenosine, and melatonin. And REM is going to be characterized by acetylcholine, glutamate, GABA, and glycine. So the glycine is there for the muscle atonia. That's for the muscles to completely relax, because glycine is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So GABA is actually secreted in all stages of sleep because it works to inhibit the firing of cells involved in wakefulness. Dopamine is actually decreased as the day goes on, and at night, that's when some people have like restless leg syndrome, which is a horrible syndrome. It can actually disturb the sleep quite badly. In older patients, this can result in something called sundowning, where they go into like a psychotic state because all of the dopamine from the day has been deplenished. Acetylcholine is strongest during REM sleep and during wakefulness, so this is going to be associated with, of course, like, alertness or with dreams. So in the sleep thermostat, it's really controlled by the circadian clock, and then there are some cytokines involved, so like the interleukins, TNF alpha, all of that, and then there's going to be hormones involved, and it's either going to be inhibitory, so you can go to sleep, excitatory, so you can wake up, and it all kind of like crosses together to mediate the cell activity and the metabolic activity. So that's it for now. Thank you for your attention, and good luck studying.